Hello, my name is David Forrest Dawson. I'm 43 years old. And when I was a child, out of the line of sight of my parents, I was struck in the head extremely hard by a 2x4. And I went home at some point that day, completely in a daze, forgot it happened, and never told my parents. And nobody ever told my parents that it happened. The only reason I know it was a 2x4 is because I just recall somebody telling someone else that I was hit on the head by a 2x4. And as a child, I guess I thought, oh, that's a cool thing. I took a hit in the head, great. But I was never the same. And then in 6th grade, I was riding sixth grade. And I was 6 years old, I was riding a bike. And the bike couldn't handle speed very well. I was going down a hill and it crashed and I hit my head and it bled. And I smacked my head on the concrete. So when you get head injuries, stuff leaves scar tissue, and stuff can leave internal scar tissue, and it was left untreated virtually, those 2 injuries. I mean, later I received other injuries, but like in 8th grade when I was in a fight with this guy Matt, and he punched my head really hard when I was down. There's still a crack right here, and I couldn't get a doctor to look at it. The school never took me to a doctor for that. So these things were leaving scar tissue. So as I'm trying to grow into a human being, I've got all this scar tissue preventing my brain from coming in correctly. So as my very smart brain is getting unable to fit itself in, it became exceedingly uncomfortable to sleep. Often I couldn't really sleep. And I would see things sometimes or hear, there was like perceptual distortions. It was only when I would like lay down to sleep that it would happen. The closest thing I could relate it to is something called Alice in Wonderland syndrome. The symptoms seemed that, but I was feeling disoriented because my brain was no longer functioning correctly. I didn't really get sleep. I didn't get good sleep for sure. I guess in the summer I felt like I got sleep. But I just laid there a lot, waiting for something to happen. A lot of times I slept to some degree, I know I did, but many times it was just stuff like visions and astral projecting and other stuff. I'm not sure if I ever really got REM sleep. So I spent a lot of time indoors because, parents keep you indoors. I guess, right? At least my parents did. I mean, I went outside, but overall, I spent most of the time indoors. And so furnaces give off and dryers give off carbon monoxide, which is odorless and tasteless. So if I'm in that building most of the time, getting that into me, then I'm sort of like, my body's like, oh, we're on the planet where this is the air, and we'll adapt to it as best as it can. But because it's supposed to adapt to Earth's atmosphere, I'm living but unable to fully live because I have not adapted to oxygen being my main form of gaseous inhalation with the thing I'm taking in. So if I'm inside most of the time, let's say I'm in this building for the rest of my life, this is the planet I live on. Now, just what's in this building, right? Now, if I was to spend the whole time outside, I would be outside. And my body would adapt to being outside eventually, hopefully. But there's a misadaptation that occurs when a human being, before it reaches the necessary health impasses to create a sustainable inner ecosystem, but spending time inside too much, sitting in chairs that are uncomfortable, that hurt one's back, using your eyes so much, like bright rooms. When your eyes are open and you're looking around, especially in bright lights, it's like walking to your body. When you walk a lot, your feet hurt, right? When your eyes are open long enough, well, it doesn't quite manifest the same. It could be sleepiness, your eyes get droopy. You're not tired, why am I going to sleep? Because your eyes are giving up. You're walking and walking and walking. As your eyes are open, you're doing the thing like your feet are walking, or it's like doing this the whole time. It's using, this is not, you're using ATP, you're using energy to see the muscles, the quality of the muscles and the structures around that support the head and the free-flowing nervous system, the free-flowing circulatory system, the unimpinged skull cap, or they call it the Galea aponeurosis, I think, Galea something. I don't remember exactly. Aponeuroticus, I don't remember. The swimmer's cap. If it's impingement free, right? And then you've got a nose that's moved around a little bit. Maybe it's not so weak because you like get outside and breathe, wake up the senses, open it up sometimes, pull out your ears, be like, oh, I'm alive. Let's not get the brain to stick to itself. But if you've never done various breathing, oh, this head's got so much stuff you can do stuff with, and just pushing stuff around, moving structure, moving fluid, moving soft tissue over underlying structures. Even the minuscule change. You've got microscopic fibers, so when you're doing a stretch, even a little change can make a difference. Even a little slight change to this can make a difference. If you've got microscopic size cells, and microscopic size changes can make a difference. But if the assumption is I'm going down with the ship and there's nothing I can do, then what's going to happen is I'm going to believe that narrative, and everything like it's going to come across my path, and it's going to be confirmed by everyone around me, and then I'm going to in the grave way too soon. But if I don't listen to any of that, and I just do the maintenance I need, as long as, do you ever do wrist rolls? Do you know why your hands ache? Do you ever do wrist rolls? Do your hands ache, and do you do wrist rolls? If your hands ache, you don't do wrist rolls. That could be partially. Do you ever open up your hands in the day? Do you ever pull them apart? How long have they been stuck together? Pull them apart from each other for a while. Obviously don't hurt yourself, but a small change. Because if I do that in 5 minutes, and I do that in 5 more minutes, and do that in 5 more minutes, and then eventually something gives, those are worthwhile. Thing I did every 5 minutes for an hour. I'm just saying that there are things that you can do for yourself in every moment for your body, as long as you have the resources. Now, most of the time, most people have a lot of stuff that they can do, but when you're very hungry, or when your situation is dire or seems dire, there's no time for this. There's no mental space for that. The ATP, the energy, the attention goes to the problems, right? While the real problems are the things building up in the body, being ignored. If your hand is healthier, are you going to be more likely to go out and get a job? If your hands feel good, stretch them out consistently, or you're more likely going to want to play an instrument? If you know how to roll your shoulders out and you got to loosen up, are you going to more likely go out and do yoga, or feel like doing that sport that you like? Or, what better thing to do than figure out you don't know how to take care of your nails, girl or guy, go to get a pedicure and a manicure. If you're a guy, you might not need another manicure, but get a pedicure every so often. See what that does to your well-being. If it's about the money, fuck the money. Your body's the money. What do you do for yourself? Have you ever treated yourself? Do you know how to treat yourself? If you can't really get a pedicure, you really can't ever get one? Does it always seem unaffordable to you? Well, that's partially the result of inflation. If minimum wage, if wages were as reasonable as they should be, considering what we have in money out there, then all of us should be able to afford pedicures every month. That's the result, is you have people, that's the result of inflation over so long, and it's keeping wages low, is now you have people that can't afford to go do the things they need to do to feel better for work and to de-stress faster, easier. So you got the quick fixes of alcohol and going to karaoke on the weekends, and of course pot being convenient is a great thing. I think mixed with eating healthy and doing healthy things, pot can be a great thing. I think. I'm not giving you your opinion, but the lack of self-care availability. Most people have plenty of money, sometimes for their phone bill, but not even the grocery bill. The internet bill, but not the grocery bill. The car bill, but not the grocery bill. But the grocery bill The groceries are the things that will either help you or can hurt you or kind of keep you midline. If you're eating only processed foods and the low bottom of the totem pole foods, you're gonna probably have a harder time at work. If you're able to eat at least consistently the stuff that's available in restaurants and stuff out there, that's the midline. But if you know how to take it to the next level and consume whole vegetables, whole fruits, if you know how to get rid of the get to the right types of water, types of coconut water, types of salts, types of potassiums and iodines. I hear be careful with iodine, you can overdose. I don't know. I'm not giving you any advice. I got to the magnesium oxide thing, really helps me, 400 milligrams. Not every day, sometimes every day. It kind of depends. I don't know. It really works for me though. Magnesium, the body asks for it. I do know. So all these things that it's like, I can't feel bad about this. I'm not going to look at the sugar content on this. Are you kidding me? This thing looks like life itself inside of a cup. If I have a sedentary lifestyle, the sugar will be unused. If I have a very active lifestyle and I'm getting enough sunlight and movement and stretching and enough of the nutrients I need, then the sugar, at least for me, isn't going to do anything to me except for help me. Now, some sugars from some things like overly processed candy can make me feel icky, but this would never make me feel icky. This is the thing of life. This is great. Whatever it is, I put all of my gratitude into that while I'm drinking it, because I don't got to go pick it myself and get the juice in the can. Someone else did that for me. All these things out here, carrot juice. I hate the taste of this stuff, but man, it helps me. It makes me feel better. Someone said that the worst way to get sugar is through drinking it. So I'm like, well, then that tells me if I want to get sugar, the best way is to drink it. And if I want to make sure it's sugar that I want to really get inside my body, it'll be something from a fruit juice or something that contains fruits or other, but that the sugar should be from a natural source, but it's not going to hurt me. Not me. I'm not saying it wouldn't. I have no idea what you're doing, right? But for me, this is going to help me. It's going to make my mood better. The flavor is more, it's replenishing. You've got real ingredients in there. Coca-Cola has a real kick to it, right? But it's probably because the phosphoric acid makes your body not, phosphoric acid generally makes the human body able to consume a larger quantity of high fructose corn syrup in one sitting, or sugar. It primes the body to be able to consume more sugar, allowing them to put more sugar inside of the drink than should be humanly consumable. So it basically makes an excessive amount of sugar consumable. It's called phosphoric acid. It's in Coca-Cola. And so my problem was I couldn't get any practitioners to look inside my head. I don't know what they were looking at, but I definitely had problems. I had clicking. When I walked, I could hear it. No doctors would look until they wanted to do the psych stuff. And of course, they're going to start to at least pretend to look. Or I don't know what an MRI does, but it sure didn't fucking help me. So I'm going along with these head injuries I'm collecting, still expected to perform normal duties in school or whatever the hell they wanted me to do. Massive anxiety because fuck, I can't even sleep right and I can't get someone to listen to me, and I'm too weird for anybody to think perhaps I have a medical issue, or they think it's just maybe, I don't know. I guess no, I didn't really, I guess, come across as weird until like junior high, but by junior high, like, I started smoking before 7th grade. Before 7th grade, between 6th and 7th grade, I started smoking. I got $2 for lunch, went to school, got two Twix, a cookie, and a soda for lunch. And I was smoking cigarettes. I didn't feel hungry. I felt like I was getting what I needed. Those cigarettes were making me able to just eat that food and be okay. I didn't even realize where the lunch line was. I didn't know what anyone was eating or how they got it. I just went and got what I did every day, and it seemed to sustain me. 7th through 9th grade, I had cereal, and then cookies, Twix, soda, come home, consume as many Oreos as I could, and finally I'd get dinner, which would feel really good. But the next day and the next morning, I was just more and more tired, probably because I wasn't eating. I'm 43. When I go to work, I need at least 2 Starbucks sandwiches, at least 2 Impossible Burgers, at least, plus other stuff. I gotta have a soda with each sandwich, and I've gotta eat a little bit more than that too. So there's no way I didn't need that much food back then as well. So why was my eating habits not being alerted? Why was no one alerting to the fact I was just eating candy and cookies and soda all day? But you want to judge me for smoking cigarettes? Like, I'm a kid. You made them pretty available for me back then. Could steal them easily. The campaigns of like, buy 1 pack, get 2 free, that wasn't nothing to do with getting people to smoke, right? So eventually, being worn out completely by having to live my life with this head injury, I got taken to psychologists and psychiatrists and all this stuff, and I don't know what they were doing. I ended up seeing this one guy who, well, the first guy, he gave me on some medication called Effexor, and that fucked with me so bad. He said that I have clinical depression, but I'm really like just depressed in that dark ass office, or was depressed. So then I saw this other counselor, and I would just sleep. That's all I would do. I could sleep there. It was comfortable there, but that's all I did. He got paid for me to just sit there and sleep. I mean, honestly, I needed to sleep, so I actually appreciate that. He seemed to believe that there's nothing wrong with me, and I think he's right in the sense of there's nothing psychologically wrong with me. It was physiological. So eventually, when I turned 18, I got to move out of the house, figure it out on my own. I never really recovered the eating thing very well, and so getting out on my own was not fun, really. I mean, it was fun. Like, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't be an adult. I didn't know what being an adult meant, because I never really had access to food when I needed it enough to even understand how that really, I didn't understand how people ate. Well, in high school, they stopped giving me lunch money because they heard I was buying candy and cookies and stuff, and so they just decided to stop giving me money. The neighbor would give me $2. And then eventually, when I started going to school on my own, I didn't have any lunch money, which eventually I just dropped out because I couldn't eat. I wasn't eating in high school. I wasn't given any money to eat. I was under 18. So I got a job at Dairy Queen, and I focused on that because I could at least eat whenever I wanted to. And I liked the job. And I worked at a couple Dairy Queens, and I worked at a couple more. Like, I mean, it wasn't like I just set out to work at them, like, all like that. But, you know, this job, you know, doesn't work anymore, and then, you know, a little work over here. But I worked at these places, and I was able to eat what I needed, when I needed. But it wasn't necessarily really healthy food, but at least I could keep this midline of, yes, I'm eating. And then, eventually, I was living out on my own in Linwood, and I was working at a restaurant, and I was burning out on caffeine because I was trying to keep up with my shifts, and I wouldn't eat really. I would just keep getting caffeine pills and stuff so I could keep going. It wasn't like I felt like it was inappropriate, because I was just keeping up the energy so I could keep my job going, because I didn't really live with anybody. I didn't have anybody to help me. So eventually it broke me, and my boundaries were bad, and I ended up with some people that were just kind of took advantage of my being off at the time, you know, not being able to cognize everything, because I was really too much caffeine, not enough nutrients, a lot of stress, spiritually overwhelmed, making decisions to be more conforming to work than to actually following my heart to be a massage therapist. I tried to be a massage therapist, and it was just too much. I needed to not work during that time period, and doing it on my own. I was working at a restaurant. I couldn't just go to school anymore. I mean, I loved the school, but I couldn't do it. I was not ready for it. I walked into school one day down at Green Lake, and I'm like, hey, want to massage, what is this? You know, massage therapy, because I had one session from somebody and loved it. I got in the class immediately because I just started, and I just got in over my head after a month. And I left because it just seemed appropriate, because I had to maintain my rent and stuff. I worked other jobs that were sometimes fun, sometimes not. Eventually, when I was 20, while I was working at this restaurant, somebody gave me some kind of a hallucinogen. He was kind of fucking with me, and I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know what a narcissist was, but I had a hallucinogen from him, and it was too much, and the story's too long to go into, but I ended up being taken to Harborview and given a diagnosis which I didn't deserve, and getting medicated on stuff I didn't need to take. And getting out, Compass put me on this medicine, and they gave me too much. They gave me 30 milligrams of Zyprexa. You're only supposed to take 20. So my doctor at Everett Clinic kept prescribing it year after year, 13 or so. I don't know how many years, what I was taking, 13 years taking that medication. Well, when I first started taking it, I was rejecting food when I would take it. So they gave me omeprazole to keep it down, to like shut off the puking reflex, kind of like phosphoric acid cuts off the puking reflex when you're drinking Coke. So I'm consuming this thing that's making me sick, but I'm unable to understand that in the body. So I'm sitting there taking this thing every night. I'm getting up to eat a quesadilla or two and feeling like I'm not even eating anything, not feeling like I even ate anything, and I would go back to bed and I'd wake up exhausted. As soon as I took the medicine at night, I'd get super tired, and it's 30 milligrams, too much. You gave me 2 50-milligram pills, right? Or they did, not you maybe, unless you're the one who did it. Giving me no option except 30, 15, or 0. So going off of it was a trip. I finally had to go off of it, and I didn't ask anyone for help, because no one was going to help me with that. Everyone would discourage it. I felt like I had to hide the condition because it was so mentally overwhelming just to think about the diagnosis that I knew wasn't probably correct. And I just needed to rest for a second, guys. I needed to rest and eat for a little bit. I was taken advantage of. I was having post-traumatic stress disorder, and you guys took me in Harborview and gave me therapy I didn't ask for, sent me on my way for 13 frickin' fucking years, unable to get my life together because of this medication. But I got my life together. You know who helped me the most? Getting outside, breathing in this great outside air as much as possible. Not this right here, but yeah, right outside these doors. I've got Forrest right here. I go by Forrest, by the way. I don't go by David anymore. Not that it's a bad name, I just prefer Forrest now. So I started getting outside more. I found a nudist park to go to. I'm actually living in it right now. This is a nudist park. This is a trailer inside of a nudist park. This is a trailer spa, massage therapy, yoga, musical trailer. I mean, this equipment here is awesome. And I'm going to do stuff with it even if it's by myself. I'm having a great time with this stuff. Setting it up, doing all this creative stuff I couldn't really do before because all the scar tissue that not only in the head, after car accidents, a couple of them not getting it fully resolved. When you get in a car wreck, often practitioners don't get this stuff out. They don't get this stuff out. The front stuff, the scar tissue that builds up. So you feel the muscles back here sore, get them taken care of. But it's these muscles that aren't sore pulling them forward. If you don't take care of those, it's like they're pulling you. So you, instead of worrying about these so much, take care of the ones that are doing the pulling. Well, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying what I do. Anyway, so, but B-U-T-T or B-U-T, you'll never know. So, I went hardcore in the vegetables. I went to Whole Foods every day for a couple years and got a little of each vegetable. And I put walnuts in the thing, I put mixture, they had the greatest stuff. And I went there every day, got 2 bowls of the stuff, and eventually I felt a chemical change that was really making me feel good, or better. And after a long time of study, I realized I was so nutrient deficient for so long that this was an emergency. I had to take care of this now. I went to massage, I sold my condo, went to massage school, did tons of yoga, asked pharmacists, Reiki masters, yoga teachers, massage therapists, managers at places, old people walking by, young people asking, talking to people, trying to figure out this human health thing. And I find that when I'm healthier, I can socialize better. Or when the subject matter is up their alley, it's great. Well, for a while now, I've been on the subject matter of vaccines and masks so much that it's eating my well-being. And I didn't know what to do about that. So I get better at thinking, I get better at talking, I get better at speaking. And I want to know the real reason for the masks. Who wants this and why? I really want to know that. But you can say that, oh, we already know why the masks are... No. I want to know the real reason. We might not know the real reason. We might not have been told the real reason. If you don't think the government... Do you think the government always tells you the real reason for everything they do? Do you think any individual in the government has the ability to explain to you personally what's going on so that you fully understand it? Like, it's almost impossible for somebody to come to me from the government and explain to me what the government's doing, because he doesn't know what that guy is doing in that office he's never met and they've never even talked before. It's not so knitted together. It's people going to work. That's all it is. So, if this is all about human health, have we just forgotten what nutrients are? Or are we just trying to industrialize something new because the old way of industrializing things is no longer working? I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I feel exactly so that every person understands it, because I could have a key piece of information I don't understand to no fault of my own, or I'm just overlooking, that might change my mind about something that I feel. But also, I'm not trying to make it, is this right or is this wrong? I'm trying to figure out what all the options are, and I can't do that until I know what all the actualities are around these options that I'm deciding from. If I go into a store and I'm being sold things and they've found a way to change my behavior to get me to buy something I don't really want to buy or spend more than I really want to spend, what else could they do to me if I'm not aware? Self-awareness, critical thinking, non-judgmental emotional monitoring. You got to monitor your emotions unjudgmentally so you can look at it like your phone would look at its own data. Don't take it so seriously. I know we really like making it dramatic because a lot of us don't feel good, and at least some drama behind the background, but there can be beautiful scenes without unnecessary drama. You can listen to the most hardcore music and just like it more instead of thinking you have to throw it out because it sounds a certain... I love the song God Supreme by Jedi Mind Tricks. Oh, that song is so cool. Linkin Park, The Catalyst. Oh, I love that song. There are songs that blow me away sometimes. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for those songs. But me becoming a better person doesn't mean my music selection becomes more watered down or mainstream or appropriate. It's about what I need my music to be so I can relate to the world today in the most inner, outer, connectedly way. Because there's more of this inside than what I've seen, and there's more outside than I've seen. And if I just think that everything that I think about and do all day is all there is, then what am I gonna do? I'm probably gonna just go do the same thing all the time, thinking that, well, it's all like this, how we can't change it. I don't know. I do know, actually. I don't not know. I know that when I was able to, after a car accident, I got so much rest so quickly. So Circadian rest. I was in this car accident on August 19th, 2016, and I have 5 broken ribs in this accident. For the first 3 days, I spent in a chair at home, and on the 5th day, I was down here where I live now for my first nudist festival. And it was the most magical day. My feet still really hurt from the tarsal tunnel from the floor mats at the Safeway I was working at. They finally changed those ones, but a lot of these floor mats are really old and they hurt people really bad. Sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly. People keep their mouths shut. They don't know where the discomfort's coming from. It's the shoes, it's the insoles. It's like a labyrinth sometimes, but those mats are just bad. Sometimes worse than they should be. Way worse. Anyway, but I was down here, my first festival, 5 days later. Well, I went home. I took the rental car down here after the accident. I had a beautiful day. I was here 8 a.m. to midnight. 5 broken ribs. But it just felt so good. The sunlight must have really been a repairing force in my body. It was beautiful. And I was already on the health kick enough to really get at least some kind of a difference. I felt really good. I made some friends and it was fun. It's a very beautiful day. My feet still hurt, but I got to take them off in the grass. I had the pool, to go in, so that was all good. It was good enough that day. And then, so after that, I stayed at home until the so after that event, I had to turn the car back in, and I just stayed home and grounded myself because I was still really achy and I wasn't able to get to the nudist park for a little while. But for a couple of weeks, I just spent at home, and I discovered YouTube, and I discovered FitBrain, this good brain training app, and then I discovered Elevate, and I discovered yoga in a better way. I started following my instincts better. Eventually, by the time I got a car to use, my parents helped me get a car, I had enough momentum. I could come down here. I wasn't back to work yet. I had a month and a half off, so I could come down here and think about things. I took notes, went to Alderwood Mall and took lots of notes. And a lot of those notes, pretty much all of them, the stuff started to happen. Became a karaoke host, got a Reiki master's license or certificate. I can train other Reiki people to Reiki mastery. I went to massage school. I passed I did pretty good there, and I worked in massage a little bit afterwards here and there for a client that I had in school that I saw after school, got out, and then I worked up in Bellingham at a massage envy that was too far away. There's other parts of the story. I lived in another nudist park. I just moved in this one in Issaquah just before COVID, like in February 2020, and I moved from one that was in Mount Vernon. I lived there for about a year and a half. They closed to the public for nudity because someone else bought it, I guess. But I got a chance to do things on my own, and things got a little bleak out there in Mount Vernon. Money became exceedingly difficult. My friend stole my car after she had a drug relapse. She stole my car and my homework and all my school stuff. I just got it organized, and I was going to be so centered for the rest of school. She stole my bag out of the car. I never got it back. I got the car back. She smelled it up of meth. I had a logo on the back of my car of my business, but the car stunk so bad I had to get rid of it. So things went downhill financially, but I learned how to do OfferUp. I learned how to do Uber, like drive for Uber, drive for Lyft, DoorDash. I did all, and I was pretty good when I had the gas I needed. So I learned how to be self-sufficient a little bit better. I don't have a vehicle right now, but I work at Target. Target is an amazing company and has given me a much greater experience than I've had at all these other stores I've worked at. They're more kind and they're more reasonable. They're people that I can trust. I can go to with what I need to, and I like Target a lot. Their clothes are really cool. I'll share more later.